guys, this is Ken Collins with the Prince Hall Think Tank with the Prince Hall Think Tank moment. At the close of the 18th century, the foundation of Prince Hall Freemasonry was set with the chartering of African Lodge number 459 by the Grand Lodge of England. Although America was a young country, people of color lived under three sets of social conditions, that being America's first greatest sin, that of chattel slavery and human trafficking, the second being those who lived as indentured servants, and the third, those being the free persons. No matter the class, they were all identifiable as being African. So much so that the term African, irrespective of where on the continent they came from, which language they spoke, or how they prayed, they saw themselves uniquely as African. You will see in the title of the organizations, African Lodge, the Free African Society, and the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Within African Lodge, the records show that men were Christians, Muslims, among other things. But one unique moment in African Lodge's history, you will find documented that there was a table lodge, setting in which an oration was given in the native tongue of Mandingo. The Colombian Pernicious description is worthy of attention, and I quote, "Some readers may need to be informed that in a certain metropolis on this continent, there's a fraternity of Negroes who are formed into a lodge. They celebrate festivals, walk in processions, and wear aprons, but are not readily acknowledged as Masons by their white brethren. Their rights and claims are vindicated in this oration, which was spoken in the Mandingo language at a late meeting of their lodge by a very learned brother, and is now translated into English doggerel by a gentleman formerly concerned in the African commerce, who is well versed in that ancient, musical, and sonorous language, but is afraid that he has not been able to express all of its beauties in our modern, mixed, and imperfect dialect." End quote. Now, just imagine African men assemble in what's considered a table lodge receiving a lecture in Freemasonry in Mandingo. The most beautiful account include the accoutrement. I'll give you a little description of it, and I quote, "A long room with a table in its midst, elevated on 6 volute columns, the Grand Master adorned with the jewels of his order at the upper end, under an arch painted with all the colors of the rainbow, the wardens on each side with ivory wands. Before the Grand Master on the table, a model of the Egyptian pyramid in ivory. On one side of the arch, a representation of the antediluvian city built by Cain, and on the other, Noah's Ark in the basso relief. At the lower end of the table, a model of the ruined Tower of Babel in porcelain. The fraternity ranged on each side of the table according to their degrees, respectively. Trowels, levels, plumb lines, bottles, tankards, and other necessary implements of the craft. The orator mounted on the pedestal at the lower end of the table. The Grand Master strikes his mallet, and on the trestle board, the orator begins." End quote. There you have it. A group of African men assembled as Freemasons, practicing their craft and utilizing the proper implements of their trade. Much more, utilizing their native tongue to communicate with one another. Again, this was before 1800. I'm Ken Collins, and I hope you enjoyed this Prince Hall Think Tank moment.